A very good evening, afternoon, morning to every single one of you that just joined me on this live stream. Welcome. It's Sunday night, the usual streaming time for me. So tonight we are going to talk about English teaching as a career in China. It's a very, wide and interesting topic. Especially now that the borders are closed and, we don't really have English teachers in the country, I thought that this would be a good idea to talk about this and see if it's actually, something that people can probably do in the future when the borders are open. Let's start with this one. Let me just put my banner up. There you go. So we already have a couple of people in the chat. Obviously, welcome to you guys as well. Feel free to jump over to my YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button if you would like to support the channel. You can do it here with the QR code. There's Patreon, PayPal, whatever. You don't have to. It's not necessary. I also got a new microphone. I don't know if you've realized. Hopefully, the sound quality is a little bit better. I used it last night when we were streaming with Simon and Mike. That was another interesting stream last night. Yeah, if you haven't checked that one out, jump over to the channel, to the videos, check it out. It was a very interesting conversation about censorship in China. Tonight or this afternoon or this morning, like I said, wherever you are, it's just me talking about English teaching as a career. Obviously, I came to China, to teach English at the beginning, and I would like to share my thoughts on this and my experience. Now, like I said, we already have a couple of people uh, in the comment section, so let's say hi to them. Have you heard the news press conference? You cannot come home without quarantine, but I'm not sure whether you want to. So this is about Hungary, obviously, and they like to do these press conferences. The government likes to do them, and they want to let people know what's going on. Personally, I'm not planning to go back to Hungary, as long as the borders are closed in China. As long as I can't come back in, I'm not planning to leave the country. And personally, I think that's a wise decision because nobody really knows when the borders are going to reopen. I made a video about this, that the borders might reopen after the Chinese New Year, but it's just speculation. So it's not something that is set in stone. We also have Jack Black. How about China? Any news on them opening back up? Like I said, Jack, nobody really knows. Yeah, I mean, you can watch my video about the borders reopening in China, in the future. But like I said, nobody really knows, and guessing right now is probably not a very good idea. I mean, I'm having a guess as well, saying that after Chinese New Year, which is around March 2021, but that's almost a year away. So I think that's a safe guess. Um, Already subscribed. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate that. I keep hearing it will open up in September. Yes, somebody posted a comment on my channel saying that in Shanghai they are handing out flyers to schools and they are telling them get ready because the borders might reopen in September or October. So maybe that might be the case. I'm not so sure, but we shall definitely sit back and wait a little bit and probably not try to second guess everything. What's your views on living outside the tier one cities? Do you ever get a bit of bored or restless? So I'm not sure if this question is towards me, but I will tell you, my opinion. I actually live in a tier four city now. Jilin just got bumped down from tier three to tier four, and people are obviously not happy about it. So personally, I like living here because it's the real China for me. I can see the countryside. I don't need to travel very far to see the countryside and see the real China. And I showed this in my videos as well previously that that's something that I like to do. I get bored. I want me some tier one cities. See, that's the thing. I spent about, what was it, almost a month in Beijing, and I didn't like it. Like, obviously, there are nice, restaurants that you can go to. They have nice foreign restaurants as well. But personally, I don't want to stay in, a big city just because of, Western restaurants. And I think that the real China experience comes from, smaller cities, not the big cities like Beijing or Shanghai. Take me to Budapest. It's an amazing city. It is. It's an awesome city. It's super cheap as well for Westerners. I mean, it's probably the same price as China, with food and accommodation and all of those things. So it is actually a really nice and really cheap city, and it's developing very fast in my opinion. All right then. So let's jump into today's topic, and I would like to talk about English teaching in China, and is it actually a good career to start or to do? Um, so, as you guys know, I came to China back in 2017, and I was supposed to work as an English teacher. Then, basically, my agency lied to me, and I ended up working at a nursery and just looking after babies, and that wasn't very pleasant. So I explained this in my last video, where I told you guys that I was about to leave China, but then certain things changed. So yeah, basically, I can like the short answer is yes, you should come to China and teach English, but it's not a career that everyone should choose. For some people, it's good enough for a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, but it's not a lifelong career for many people. And I think I don't want to do teaching English forever. I'm already trying to start different things and get myself involved in other things. Obviously, YouTubing is another thing that I'm trying to do, but right now I think of it as a hobby. So whatever money I get from YouTube, I basically put it back into the channel. So it's not something that I use to live basically. So it's just a hobby, and right now this hobby pays for itself. So I'm very happy about that. Now, let's talk about people that come here and they want to teach for good money. And is it still possible to get good money from teaching English in China? And absolutely, you can get really really good money in China by teaching English. Even in third, fourth tier cities like Jilin, for example, you can still get 12, 13, 14,000 RMB a month. And keep in mind that these are small cities by Chinese standards. We're talking like 2, 3 million people. I mean, I know in England, a city with 2, 3 million residents mm, that's considered a big city. But in China, that is actually a small, tier three, tier four city like Jilin. And living costs in these small cities are very low. For example, apartments in Jilin, you can get a very decent apartment for like 1,500 RMB. And most of the time the school pays for this, so you don't need to spend any money on your apartment or any expenses that might come with an apartment. So that's a very big help from the school, and you can definitely save money even in the small cities, even if you get like 10 to 14,000 RMB a month. Now let's talk about the big cities and what's the situation there. So obviously, bigger cities, it means the living costs are higher, so houses and apartments and all of these things are going to be more expensive. And the average like salary in Beijing and Shanghai, they start from like 20,000 RMB at least. It depends on your qualifications. So if you're a qualified person, you can get as much as 32,000 RMB, and you know that is a lot of money in my opinion. Even though it's a big city and the living costs are higher, but it's still a lot of money in my opinion. So you should definitely consider going to big cities as well, if you want to hang out with other foreigners and you want to meet foreigners more often. Because the downside of living in a small city like mine is that you don't really have the opportunity to meet foreigners that much. I mean, I have foreign friends here, but you know, it's not a lot. So we are talking, I know about 15 people right now, and I've been here for 3 years. So, when I was in Beijing, I knew about, 50 people in a month. Like, I still have some of those guys on my WeChat and my Facebook, and I still talk to them sometimes. And that's a big difference between small cities and big cities because the foreign presence is much higher and bigger in bigger cities. So if you just want to ease into things in China and you don't want to give yourself the culture shock immediately, then I can definitely recommend that you go to a bigger city, start off in a bigger city, teach there, see how you like the community, how you like the way Chinese people work, and just ease yourself into things. Then once you like it and you've realized that you want to spend more time here, then that's when you should probably look at smaller cities and to to make your experience more personal, in my opinion. All right then. Obviously, guys, feel free to chat in the comments. Feel free to ask questions. I'm very happy to answer them. We have Angelo, Jack, Iceman, a couple of people in the chat. So yeah, feel free to ask whatever questions you have. Guys on Facebook as well, feel free to type in anything. It's going to come through. Then I can put it on the screen and answer your questions. So let's talk about these living costs that you might encounter in smaller cities. And is that 14,000 RMB really enough in a small city like Jilin? So like I said, housing is most likely provided by the school, so you don't need to spend a penny on it. Taxi, like transportation, buses, and all of these things. So in Jilin City, there is a system for buses that if you get on a bus, you pay 1 RMB, 1 yuan, to to travel anywhere within the city. So these city buses, they run around the city, so they're not going to take you outside of the city. And it's only 1 RMB to go basically anywhere in the city, so that is very cheap. And excuse me. And I took the bus a couple of times before, and it is a good experience because not a lot of foreigners are in this city. So you're gonna be the only foreign person on the bus, so it is definitely a different experience. And it's cheap fun, basically. So yeah, the other one is the taxis, and in Jilin the taxis are very cheap. They start from 5 RMB. So as soon as you jump into a taxi, the clock starts from 5 RMB, and every kilometer or every 2 minutes, I think, or a minute is an extra RMB. So if you want to get from one side of the city to the other side, it's not gonna like the maximum it's gonna cost you is about 20 RMB, and that's the absolute top. So that's really cheap. And Jilin, even though people say it's a small city, there are many attractions within this small city. So you can definitely find things to do, and costs for transport is very cheap. Zach, what's your view? Do you think COVID will make English teachers' salaries higher after living cost chat? Um, sure, I can totally answer this one right now. It's not a problem. Um, the living cost thing is, I would like to break it down into, a few different parts. So, I talked about the housing, I talked about the transport. I'm going to talk about, food and going out and all of these things. So I will try to break it down so it's easier for you guys to digest it. So, yeah, let's talk about this thing. So, COVID will make English teacher salaries higher. Is it going to make it higher? I think so, especially now that the borders are closed. So let me just pull up my phone and let's have a look in a couple of groups because I am in a couple of teaching groups that are looking for teachers. So there is well, there are loads. So let's have a look. So teachers from Russia or Ukraine are welcome in this school. So they are specifically looking for European English teachers, and obviously they need to be in China right now. So this is in Shanghai, and they are offering 14,000 to 26,000 RMB a month for European English teachers. So, like I said, in Shanghai, if you're qualified, you can get, as much as 30,000. And most European teachers, they're not qualified basically. For example, people from Hungary, from my country, if they want to get a working visa right now, I don't think they can because they are not native English speakers. So a very big advantage right now for people um, in the country is that they can move freely in China and they can take any kind of job. And most of these schools, even though that they are saying that they're looking for people that are qualified for work visas, they will take anyone right now to do classes because there's a shortage of English teachers. I mean, so many people try to get me as well to go to Beijing, to go to Shanghai, and work for them for a few months until the borders are open again and till they can get their teachers back. But, I don't want to travel that far myself. I tried to get a job in Beijing to do a sports camp during the summer. But obviously, the second wave in Beijing kind of ruined that plan. It was actually a really nice job for a month and a half, so 5 weeks. It would have paid 35,000 RMB, and everything included, like transport. The hotel was included as well, free meals. So that 35K would have ended up in my pocket, just doing a sports camp, which is actually not far from my qualifications, because I actually studied sports coaching and fitness and all of these things at university and college as well. So it's not far from me, and I would have been very comfortable doing those things. So, to give you a short answer, yes, I think the salaries are going to go up, but I don't think they're going to moon. So, don't expect like 50,000 RMB salaries. I think a good 10-15% increase for all the teachers is overdue. So I think Jilin is going to go up as well in the very near future. So we are looking at maybe bottom salary is going to be like 12,000 RMB at least. That's what I'm hoping for. And, just by looking at the numbers and by looking at the advertisers, they are really, really looking for English teachers. So, if they want to get teachers, they need to give, a bit extra because there are so many choices right now. Right now, English teachers can say, I don't want to take this job for 15K when I can go to this city and get a job for 25K. I mean, that's a bit extreme, but you understand what I mean. So teachers, they have a choice now if they want to take a certain job or they just want to, look around a little bit. Right then, so let's talk about like general like living costs, like food and all of those things in China. And I'm gonna take Jilin as an example because it's a very very cheap city. And if you want to get like a meal, just yourself, nothing fancy. If you want to get like a bowl of noodles or something like that, it's not more than 10-15 RMB. And that is very cheap in my opinion. But then the other end of the scale is Western food, and Western food is very very expensive here in the northeast, especially in Jilin. Changchun, not so much because it is a bigger city and there are more foreigners there, and it's the capital city of Jilin province. So obviously they will have more attractions for foreigners. Um, so in Jilin, if you want to get like hamburgers, hot dogs, tacos, pizzas, whatever, you need to pay, an extra. You need to pay extra money for it because there are only a few restaurants. Within Jilin, we only have two Mexican restaurants right now. They are fairly new, but I think one of them is going to close very soon um, because there are not enough foreigners to help the business to stay alive. So at least one of them is going to close. We have another one that sells pizza, which is run by a Chinese person who used to live in Belgium, I think, or the Netherlands. I'm not so sure. One or the other. And he had this pizza restaurant for 5 or 6 years now, and I don't think he will close anytime soon because most of his customers are actually Chinese, like local, Chileanese people. So his business is not built on foreigners, but he still makes a foreign pizza. So it took him some time to get to this level, but he is safe now because the business is built on Chinese people and not foreigners. So yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that even though his business is built on Chinese people, his prices are still like extremely high. I mean, his pizza is really good, but the price is a little bit too high for my liking, and we are talking like 120, 140 RMB for a fairly big pizza. But if I think about it, in England or in Hungary, I can get a decent sized pizza for, well, if I convert it back, for like 80 RMB. I know England in Papa John's, I can get a very decent sized pizza for £10. If I want to get the same sized pizza here in Jilin, it's at least double. So that shows that foreign products are not very popular, but once you start looking for it, you need to pay an extra. Otherwise, you can't get it. So it's a bit of a trap, in my opinion. Will they offer a more streamlined visa for teachers after all of the COVID crisis has abated? A way of stimulating the ESL industry in China again? Possibly, but then in the recent years, they were actually tightening the requirements. So you had to have like a TEFL, then 2 years experience. Then you had to, validate your college degree and your uni degree and all of these things. I remember like 3, 4 years ago when I was talking to other people, you could just print out um, a university degree, you know, put your name on it, put the uni's name on it, and you can yeah. Oh, subbed again. YouTube booted me for some reason. A good topic you've picked. Hopefully the ESL industry will pick up once again. I don't know what's happening. You're probably the first person that said they got booted by YouTube. I thought it was just a made up thing by other YouTubers. But yeah, welcome again, Matthew. Nice to see you, man. So yeah, back to this one is like my opinion is that they will ease up a little bit on the restrictions and the requirements, but after a year or two, they're gonna go very tight on them again, and many teachers will leave because they are not going to be legal. And the other thing is, the story that I was telling just now, that years ago you could just print out a university degree, put your name on it, get a fake stamp from down the shop or from the fake market, put the stamp on it, that's it. And you can actually give it to the government, and they would be like, okay, you have a uni degree, you can get a work visa. And that was actually a thing in China, years ago. And I personally know people that they never been to university, they never applied for university, and they have a fake degree, and that is still a thing. Once you're in the system, and once you enter the system through the broken way, you're not gonna get out. Like, there's no way for you to get caught, really, because the only thing that you do if you stay at the same school is just renew your visa, and they're not going to check your papers again. They're just going to check your visa, and they're going to ask your school, like, do you want to renew this person's visa? And they're going to be like, yeah, sure. So they're not going to check your papers again. They're just going to renew your visa, and that's it. You're good to go. Even though 6 or 7 years ago you signed up with a fake unit degree, you're still qualified for a work visa. So the system is a bit broken, but we shall see what happens. I talked about this, that I don't think a university degree is necessary to teach English or to teach anything, but you know, it's more about knowledge and how you approach teaching, really. So, I was learning, how to teach football and how to coach football at uni and at college, and I think I have a good knowledge about both, and you know, but I don't think that a uni degree or a college degree would make me that much smarter, that I would know more. I think I would be able to deliver the same results without one. So it's more like, how prepared you are to take on something. It's not, that degree is gonna give you the knowledge uh, to teaching. Cheers for the answer. Good stream. Listening while messing around my sewing machine. You go ahead, man. Yeah, an old company I worked for used to do that. So glad I left them. It's so broken. Yeah, the system is very broken when it comes to that. And like I said, I still know people that are not qualified to be in China, yet they are still here. And they make more money than me, which is fine. I'm not gonna report them. I'm not gonna rat them out. I just know that this is a thing. And so many people want to ignore it because they think that's the right way to deal with it. But in my opinion, it's totally fine to talk about it. Obviously, I'm not going to say names, but the system is broken and it needs fixing in the future. Will you need a TEFL if you have a Bachelor's of Education degree? I think you need it, yes. It doesn't matter what degree you have, as long as you have a bachelor, whatever bachelor that is, you still need to get a TEFL or anything related to a TEFL, basically. Then you can apply for a work visa. But then again, like I said, the system is very broken. I know schools in Jilin that want to get teachers into China and they want to play the system because right now you need 2 years of teaching experience. And most of these people that they're trying to get in, they're just fresh graduates. Obviously, they're not going to have 2 years of work experience in teaching or in anything basically. So obviously they are playing the system and they're gonna make up papers and make up statements about this. But you know, it is China. I had to have my BA degree authenticated and certified. Yes, everybody that wants to come in to China, they have to do it. You're not allowed to come in without that. Well, you can come in with a different visa, but you're not going to get a work visa unless you do that. Delta or Celta is useful to have a tenfold improvement on TEFL or TESOL. Yes, I've heard the same that TEFL or TESOL is like bottom of the barrel kind of paper, and it's not very useful actually. But then again, I'm just going to repeat myself. I don't think a paper can can really give you that experience that you need in a classroom because every classroom, every class, every school is different, in my opinion. So, a piece of paper is not going to give you the knowledge that you need for certain classes. So it's all about, first-hand experience. And you can only gain this if you are here and if you are teaching. Just because you have a paper, that doesn't mean you know how to do it. I mean, yeah, you can probably write a really, really nice, lesson plan, probably better than me, but that doesn't mean you can teach better than me because I have in-class experience. I have 3 years worth of in-class experience. So just because you have the Delta, Celta, TEFL, TESOL, and all of these things, and you have more than me, that still doesn't mean you can be a better teacher than me, for example, or someone else that doesn't have these, doesn't have the paper for Delta or Celta. Do you know what I mean? So um, it is useful, don't get me wrong, because you get the basics. You know how to write lesson plans. You know how to pace your classes. But you need to adapt when you're in the classroom. You need to adapt on the spot because every class is different, and you need to adapt yourself as the situation like unfolds in the classroom. Um, for example, a very simple example so you guys can understand what I mean is, the class starts with 6 kids. You're supposed to have 10, so 4 is missing, they're late or whatever. You're gonna start your class, but you're not gonna go at full pace if you know that those 4 kids will come later. So you're not gonna jump into the main topic immediately. You will slowly feed it to them. So you give yourself a little bit of time, and you give those other students a little bit of time, so they can, jump into your class at the right time, and they're not gonna be too far behind. So that way you save yourself time in the future, because if you need to do makeup classes, then it's not gonna be huge work, a lot of work, because those kids are gonna join you sooner or later in in that given time. So you can use the actual class time to make them catch up with you. So that's something that you do on the spot, like when you enter the classroom. That's something that you can't prepare for. So that is, in-class experience. A TEFL is not going to give you this kind of example, because it's too realistic. That's what I think. The TEFL can be used as a substitute to meet the 2-year threshold if you don't have the experience. See, that's what I mean. Like, there are so many things changing that I'm not really up to date with this anymore. I focus on my school and my teachers and my classes now. I don't really have time to focus on this. So that is something that I wasn't aware of. Paperwork is helpful, but attitude is everything. Absolutely. Like I said, it's all about the attitude. Like, teaching for me is it's not about the paper. So I feel very comfortable teaching whatever classes I have. Obviously, I prepare certain things for my classes. Like, I'm not just gonna walk in from a night out into a classroom and be super drunk. And yeah, you know, paperwork is helpful, but it's not the most important thing when it comes to teaching. Gene, it was funny watching you with the other guys the other day. Yeah, poor Gene. I sent him a message afterwards. So yeah, bit unfortunate, man. But if you feel like you want to hijack my stream, feel free to do it. Drop me a message on WeChat. I can send you the link, and you can hop on. And if you have anything to say about English teaching in general, Gene, or anyone in the comment section, guys, let me drop the StreamYard link in here. Good. So if you want to come on, if you have anything to say about, English teaching, come on in. We are doing live call in as well. I forgot to mention, but you can probably see it somewhere down. So yeah, feel free to join in. It's live call in basically. So if you want to hop on in, say your opinion about English teaching, is it a good career? So yeah. Yeah, well done for the 1,500 subs, man. Awesome. Oh, and there you go. We have Gene on the stream. Awesome. Let me take my overlay down. Let's add the Gene.
Gene on stream. Gene stream. How you doing?
Gene is on the stream. Awesome. There you go.
How's it
Displaying name.
going?
Not too bad,
Huh?
man. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. A little tired. I spent the day in Hangzhou, my first time at Westlake, and I was shooting video, so I'll edit that for my channel. And
Awesome.
so it was a nice long day. We had a beautiful, hot, sunny day, no rain. So yeah, so I'm a little exhausted now, but it's a good kind of exhausted, man. So yeah,
Awesome.
man. Yeah, the whole teaching English thing. It was really complicated for me the last year. This is my 3rd year here. And when I came to China from New York, it was relatively easy for me to get here because I had 15 years teaching, but I was teaching music in New York. And so they said, okay, well, you have teaching experience. So my first job that brought me here was Web International English. So it's one of those English centers. And they had the lesson plans. I guess it's for some people they might consider that cookie cutter English teaching. The lesson plans were pre-made, and it was, but you still did have to having the prior experience in a classroom definitely helped me. I mean, people who had been there, and when they saw me come into my first couple of classes, they said, well, you can definitely talk to a group of people, because I'm an entertainer, so I'm not, you used to have a lot of foreigners who used to come in the classroom and they would speak really low, and it was like they were nervous because they didn't have experience talk. Oh my God, the people are looking at me, so there was a really corny type of English teacher. So my whole approach to teaching here in China was, I'm not a real English teacher. I'm a musician, and because I have the credentials, as a native speaker, and being from New York definitely helped. I can do the job.
Yeah.
So but then like the last year when Web went under, and I don't know if you know that story, but it was a lot of people found them.
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah,
A lot of
it
people
wasn't
found
pleasant.
very unpleasant. A lot of people found themselves out of work like in a day.
In a day,
So
yeah.
it was tragic. It was tragic. So fortunately, where I was now, this is where I figured out that it really does depend on the province, your requirements for working. Now, when I was hired in Tianjin, up north, everything was taken care of. I had my work permit and everything. Everything was good. I did my first contract there. And when that was over, they asked me where I wanted to, or if I wanted to continue in Tianjin or transfer to another city. So I said, well, I'm here to learn about China. I want to see China. Although I like Tianjin, I was tempted to stay there, but I want to see China. That's why I'm here. So I asked for a transfer because Web had 300, 400 centers throughout China. So they offered me Suzhou, a center in Suzhou. Actually, it was Taitang, which is part of Suzhou. And I agreed, signed a new contract, and moved down there to work at another Web in Taitang. So 2 months in, my work visa is about to expire, and I'm expecting them to renew all of this because that's what the previous Web did. And they're telling me, Gene, there's a problem with your work visa. And I'm like, this is about 2 months in, and about a month before my work visa is supposed to expire. And they're supposed to renew it. So they say, Gene, there's a problem. I'm like, what's the problem? We can't renew your work visa. Said, what do you mean you can't renew my work visa? You brought me down here. What's the problem? And they said, well, the problem is you need 2 years English teaching experience here in Jiangsu province. And I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I was fine in Tianjin. And they said, yeah, but this is a different province. And I said, well, what are we going to do about it? Do I have to leave? What's going on here? I'm getting nervous and everything. And they said, well, because you need 2 years English teaching, and you had everything else, you have the BFA and all of this stuff. But because you don't have 2 years English teaching experience, we suggest that you get a TEFL 120. And I didn't know too much about it. But I was so angry, I didn't even want to do all of that. They said, oh, well, you take the course, you find an online course, you get the certificate, and it should be fine. So I was dragging my feet, and but I did it. I got the TEFL 120. I did the whole thing online, and then I had to have it authenticated, right? And I had to have it certified. And they kept coming up with all of this stuff. In the meantime, I'm still working at this web. I've never really told this story. There's more to it. I'm going to edit this, because it was a lot of shady stuff going on, because this particular web, it was franchised. So a lot of these web international English centers at that time, they were franchised like McDonald's. They could use the name but they weren't like, legit webs like the ones in Shanghai and up north in Beijing and everything. I didn't know all of this, right? So so I'm doing a lot of running around because my work visa has expired now, and I'm still working for them. I'm making money for them because I'm getting a request from a lot of the clients. So we're teaching a lot of adult students, and they're really there because they want to talk to the foreign teacher. They want the native. We had one British teacher there, and they were always either requesting her or me. So, and the rest of the teachers, they had 7 other teachers, South Africa, Ghana, like that. So, so I was making money for them, but my work visa expired, and they had me going back and forth doing these visa runs to Hong Kong. And prior to all of this stuff, they knew that this was a situation, but they allowed it because they would usually pay the police or whoever, okay, well, this teacher that you have here, they're not supposed to be here, or they're here illegally, and they give them the $20,000 or whatever because they had the money, right? So they would pay it off. But something changed, right? Yeah. And the police was like, no, they have to leave, right? They can no longer work here, right? Yeah. And this wasn't just me, right? There were teachers there for 7 years. The lead teacher, he was from Turkey, and really nice guy, great teacher. Everybody loved him and everything. But because his visa, they said that his visa did not allow him to work in Jiangsu. His visa gave him permission to work in Shanghai. We never heard all of this stuff, right? So it's almost like they're changing the rules for all of this stuff. And last year was really kind of a hell of a year for a lot of teachers, and especially for me. I thought I was going to get kicked out. Not because of my fault. It's none of. I was just working.
Yeah, right? You were just working. So there was one thing that I wanted to ask, because you said you did the TEFL, right? You did it in China, right?
Well, I didn't leave. I was still in Taitung, but the TEFL was online, and the online course was based in the United States.
Okay.
So when I finished the course, they had to mail the certificate to me. They gave me a digital version, and I said I need a physical version. So they express mailed a physical version to me, and I gave it to the center, and they made their copies and gave it to the police and everything, and it still wasn't enough. It almost seemed like they were focusing on getting these foreign teachers out. It was crazy, man. So so I started doing these visa runs, so because I could get a 3-month visa to stay in China, and before this I had a 10-year visa, right? But when they thought that they were going to give me the work visa, they canceled my 10-year visa, right? So again, I have to leave. I have to go in and I have to go back into the country every 3 months until I went to Hong Kong one time to renew my visa, and they told me that I had to go back to the United States. I had to go back to New York to renew my visa there. And I'm thinking all my stuff is still here in China.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, what?
Yeah, right? going back doing a visa and all the way back to the US, then coming back. No, that's not going to sit well with anyone.
I had to do it twice. I had to do this twice. It happened twice last year. Cost me a lot of money, right? So it's really rough. They are really like clamping down. They want all the paperwork exactly the way they want it. It's not like it was when you came here, man. I mean, again, it depends on the province. It depends on
Yeah.
the province.
Um,
Maybe some
yeah.
provinces up north, they'll let you get away with all of that stuff, man. But my
Yeah.
experience, they're not playing games. They're not
Yeah,
playing
actually,
games anymore.
Matthew just said in the comments that Sichuan is pretty strict, especially the
Yeah.
smaller cities. So there you go.
Mm.
That's another example to back your claim that it really depends on the provinces and the cities,
Yeah.
like how it is.
That's
I
right.
know up here in the northeast in Jilin City, you can get away with this 2-year thing because you can play the system. But
Mm.
now you need to get your university degree like certified and everything. So they need to like
Right.
authenticate it.
Yeah.
You need to have like the background check and everything. So
There's the
everything
FBI.
needs yeah,
The
everything needs to
FBI.
go back to like your lawyer or solicitor. They need to stamp it. It needs to go through the government things as well. Then they can
Certified,
submit it.
authenticated, stamped. Exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's a lot of stuff. It's
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
stuff. So yeah. So when they sent me back to New York the second time, I said, okay, I'm going to take care of all of this stuff while I'm here because now I know what they're going to do. They're going to when I get back, then they're going to ask me for the FBI check, right? The background check. They're going to ask me for the authentication. So fortunately, in New York, everything is kind of like in the same area. You have the Chinese embassy on 42nd Street. But downtown, you have the Secretary of State and the civil. You have to go to the civil court to have it notarized and all of this stuff. So I took care of all of that. They expedited everything for me. They really helped. Even the China embassy helped me out because they were like, weren't you just here a month ago? I was like, yeah, my visa expired and I have to do all of this stuff. So they said, they surprised me. The second time they gave me another 10-year visa. I didn't know I could get more than one 10-year visa. Somebody told me, oh, well, you can get a 10-year visa, but you can only get it once. That's not true.
yeah,
So I found out that you can get it for whatever country that you're from. It depends on what country. In America, if you're an American citizen, you can get 10-year visas multiple times. So, that's what I was dealing with the last couple of months here in China, back and forth between New York and China. Now, finally, my work visa has just been processed. I just got my residence permit. So now that whole chapter is over. But I mean, it was 6 months of all of this stuff. And then COVID happened.
yeah.
It's a lot of work to
Craziness,
stay in China. It's a
craziness.
lot
Yeah,
of work.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
So
Yep.
Matthew said that each city has a different PSB, Public
Mhm.
Security Bureau, for the people
Right.
that don't know, and that's true. Like I've been to Beijing, and
Yeah.
it's completely different there, and it's
Mm.
completely different compared to Jilin as well. Like I know the people in Jilin because it's such a small city.
Mm-hmm.
Even small cities like this, they have different systems. So
Yeah.
even though Changchun is the province capital, it is still different how they deal with things there and how they deal with things here. Even though it's
Mm-hmm.
the same province, the same government basically on the same like provincial level, it's the same thing, but they still deal with things different ways. And
That's right.
that's something that I don't really understand, especially when we are in a country that is, really pushing that we are one country, one kind of people, and we're like one system. But
No,
yet,
they have different
think,
systems.
but yeah, things like this, are just not united by any means. And
Mm-hmm.
that's another one. It's up to them how they interpret the law. Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
That's I talked about. I don't know. Do you drive in China, Gene? Do you have a car or no?
No,
No,
I
no.
just e-bike. It's just
E-bike,
an e-bike.
e-bike. Well, that's also a good example. So, for example, drunk driving. If you
Yeah.
drink and drive in China, is very serious. But
Mm-hmm.
then again, you can buy your way out of it. And I know people that bought their way out of it in
Right.
Changchun and in Jilin as well. And
Right.
so some Chinese people, they ask me like, do you carry money in your car? And my first thought was like, oh, they want to break in my car and they want to steal my money. But then
Yeah.
they carried on with the story and they said, you should carry like 10, 15, 20K with you in
Right.
case you get stopped when you are drunk, you
That's
pay them
true.
off. and
Right.
they're gonna let
Right.
you off. They will let you off because that's how they understand the law. Like, right now, when it comes to money and enforcing the law, money is above the law right now. When it comes to
Right.
things like this, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you can't buy your way out of a murder, for example.
Hmm.
Like a first or second degree murder. You can't buy your way out of those
Right.
things. But
But I do have a story that can top you on that. I
sure,
had a
sure, sure.
coworker who was teaching English with me, and I'm gonna really be general because this is the internet, so I don't want to
Yeah,
bust
yeah,
anybody.
sure, yeah, absolutely.
But I had a coworker who was caught doing meth in his apartment, and this is an English teacher. He was busted doing meth. So when I heard about this, I was like, "Oh, he's gone. He's gone." But he's still here.
Money, money.
Right?
Yeah,
Payola. So I was surprised when I heard he's still here. I was like, I thought China had rules against these things, but you can get around those rules. You talk about loopholes. There are lots of loopholes here in
yeah,
China. You just have to
absolutely,
know how to play the game.
absolutely, absolutely. That's
If it
that's
were me,
that's
and I
crazy.
don't do drugs, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do any of those things. But if I did, and if that was me, I would have been gone.
Absolutely. But because you can't pay your way out of it, like that, it's just my guess, but I think it was at least 100K in RMB, at least,
Right.
because drugs are very serious. Like drink driving is very serious as well, but it's not. Everybody does it. Okay, not everybody, but some people do it, and it's more common. But doing crystal meth and doing drugs in your apartment, that's not that you know everybody's gonna do in China. So it's more serious in that sense. But
Mhm.
if it's more serious, you can probably still buy your way out of it. But if we're
Right.
talking about like murder and kidnapping and robbing places, that's probably something that you
Right.
can't make that disappear. But
Yeah.
personal things, probably.
Yeah. And people smoke weed here and everything. So I mean, people get around all of those little. It's they work
Yeah,
it. They work the system. I've
yeah,
seen it. I was surprised. I was like, what? I thought drugs and weed and meth
yeah.
and all those.
Yeah, I mean, in Beijing, if you go to what's it called, Sanlitun, I think, where all the foreigners gather, there are usually like African nationals from like Ghana and Uganda. Sometimes you can find people from Xinjiang, and they are selling weed. Like if you see Xinjiang people around that area where the foreigners gather to go out and party and all that, and you see Xinjiang people, they are definitely selling weed, but
Yeah.
90% of them. And that's
Mhm.
that's not me being racist. That is the reality. Like I
Yeah.
was there before. I went out for a couple of beers and dinner and everything, and people would approach me like, "Oh, do you want to buy some green?"
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And it's very common in the area. But like you said, they tried to crack down on this. And in the recent years, they had like some pretty big scandals, and
Mm.
they kicked out a lot of foreigners and
One
some
of them was
Austra
EF teachers, right? So a bunch of teachers who were teaching for EF,
yeah,
they were
EF
caught.
as well. Yeah, they
Right.
they were caught as well. Yeah, and they got kicked out as well. Some of them are actually in jail because
Right.
they got caught with like pretty big amounts. Like, I don't know in America what counts as a big amount of weed, but in England, if you get caught with like 80 or 100 grams on you, you can probably get away with it if it's a first time. But if you're gonna get caught continuously, like over and over and over again, they're gonna know that you're either selling or you just want to destroy your brain cells in 6 months. So some of these teachers got with like 40 grams of weed, and these teachers they're in jail for
Mhm.
3, 4, 5 years,
In
and
China.
in China.
Wow.
So that is serious. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they had a light sentence like this, like they got a light sentence like 3 to 5 years,
Mhm.
because they really like to make an example out of foreigners when it comes to drugs.
Right.
A couple of years ago, someone got executed. A foreigner got executed for drug-related offenses, and there was a
Mhm.
guy recently who almost had the death penalty handed to him. I don't know if he got executed or not, but I think it was an Australian person, or maybe New Zealand. I think it was an
Mm-hmm.
Australian guy, and
Mm-hmm.
they are still fighting his case. I think to take him back to Australia and get him trialed there. But you know, when it comes to things like that, like death penalty and all that, China they don't mess around. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, doing drugs in China is a very serious thing, and unless you're a millionaire, then I don't really recommend doing it. But even if you're a millionaire, you look at Jackie Chan's son, he was doing weed, and there was a huge
Mm-hmm.
scandal about this, you know, years
Right.
ago. And you know, you can see the result. So yeah, I don't recommend that anyone is trying to do drugs in China. If I'm being totally honest, I don't know how to get away with it because I have never done those illegal things. I guess I never get a chance to figure out then. That's good for you. I mean, sometimes not knowing things is more beneficial for you than knowing
Absolutely.
things. So yeah,
Keep your nose clean. That's what they say.
absolutely. Yeah, that's right. All right then, Gene. So today I was planning to do a 1 hour stream only. So you know, I don't want to hold you up if you have anything to do. Um, you know,
I'm gonna
personally,
do
I'm
some editing, but it was good talking to you.
absolutely. You know, I am a little bit tired. I did 8 classes today, so
Wow.
I got
I've
up at
been there.
eight
I've been
thirty,
there.
and I finished class at 6:30. So you know,
Yeah.
classes all day. I
Yeah,
didn't really eat
weekends are the
anything.
busy time, right? Saturday and Sundays. That's the peak English
Absolutely,
teaching time. Yeah, I
absolutely,
can
absolutely.
relate. All right,
Do you
man. Well,
want to do you want to plug your channel just to the viewers?
oh,
Because some people are watching on Facebook as well. So you know, feel free to plug your
okay.
channel.
All right. Well, as you see on the screen, the channel's name is Jamaica Funk. All right, and I represent Jamaica, Queens, New York. My channel is my experiences. Well, actually, it's really a music channel, right? So it's an archive of my music performances. I am a professional musician, and you'll find a lot of videos, my archives performing with artists like Roberta Flack and Freddie Jackson, a lot of R&B music. And so you'll find those older videos there. That's my evergreen content. And my new content is my China vlog experiences here. And, you know, I'm happy to share my experiences for people who are curious about China. There's no political agenda, right? You know, I'm not here to, you know, push the anti-China narrative or the anti-American narrative as well. I'm just sharing my real life experiences here in China as a Black American musician here in China. So if you enjoy that idea, please come in. I draw cartoons as well. So it's an art thing. It's everything. I know they say on YouTube you have to have a niche. You have to niche down and everything. I'm a creative person, so I do whatever I feel like, right? As long as it's creative. And if you enjoy it, come on over to my channel, Jamaica Funk. That's what it
Absolutely.
is.
Liz in the chat box, guys. I put it up on the screen. You can see it right now. That's the link to
Mm,
Gene's channel. Go over, subscribe to him, leave a comment to him, leave a like to him. You know, check out his
appreciate it.
artwork and all of those things. 'Cause he is doing an awesome job. So
Yeah, we
yeah,
have a collab. Not the last. The most recent video is the auto show in Beijing. But the video before that is a collab. I consider it a collab between Zach P and myself. So it's very funny. I did some editing to it. So it's
and you tried to do my accent as well, which was. But yeah, it was great. It was great to have you on, Gene. I really appreciate that. You know,
all
you gave me the time. So yeah, Matthew also said, you know, at least I didn't rush you out. Oh,
right. A few people sent me WeChat messages about that. You know, I was on the Saturday show, right? I called in
yeah,
just like I called in here. And yeah, Jerry, I think Jerry, he was trying to wind up the show because there was a caller before me and
yeah,
he kept it short. And I came in and I just wanted to say hello and happy birthday to Guelo. And I knew I was going to keep it short, but it actually seemed like the guys wanted to talk, right? Barrett
yeah,
was, you know, and Matt and everybody, and even Guelo. Guelo said, you know, the show is because Jerry was like, well, we're running out of time. And Guelo said, we can end the show. It's our show. You know, there's
yeah.
no,
It's
we'll
fine. Just end it whenever you want. Yeah,
Right. And Guelo said that. And they seem to be into the chat. They were asking me questions about the cartoons and the channel and everything. And Jerry seemed to he weaseled out of the conversation.
Yeah, that's
So,
it.
but
That's his
then,
thing. That's his thing. Yeah,
then I went on to,
weasels.
I went on to his live stream, and he seemed very polite, and he was plugging my channel and everything. So I think he really was pressed for time. I'm not going to get on Jerry. He was nice enough to let me on. So
Yeah.
it's all good as far as and I can use that video too. So just like I hijacked Zach P's video, I'm going to do the same thing with that video as well.
Go ahead.
Make it work.
Yeah, obviously. Also, you know, you can if you want to do what Hello Uncle Foreigner, what Peter and Emilio are doing, like, you know, they take video pieces out of these channels. If you want to take anything from mine, you know, feel free. Like, anything is, you know, free to use. You know, it's not copyrighted, and you know,
right.
It's funny. So, you know, it's funny to see that, you know, some people can make it even funnier. So,
Right,
you know,
right.
feel free. Whatever you want to use, feel free. I'm
All
very
right.
happy if
you know, I don't want to step on, you know, because we all have our thing, right?
Yeah.
So I don't step on Hello Uncle Foreigner's thing, you know, because we come from the same place too. You know, they're New Yorkers. I'm New
they're
Yorker.
New Yorkers too. Yeah.
You know, they're musicians. I'm musician. So we relate a lot to each other, but we still have our own thing. So I don't want to step on that. I don't want to do like a Hello Uncle Foreigner thing and, you know, do collages. That's their thing. So, but if I'm involved in it, if it's related to me, like the last one, I was in it, and like I said, it looks like a collaboration.
Yeah.
You know, I could use this video and re-edit it. You know, some way manipulate it, make it fun. So yeah, I'll take you up on that offer. You know, but I want to keep it my thing and our thing,
Sure.
and not infringe on anybody else's thing. Right? You have your thing. Hello Uncle Foreigner has their thing. Guelo has his thing. I have my thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You have the funk.
I have the funk. Thank you. We got the funk.
All right, then, Gene. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Right, then, man. All right. Thank you for coming on, man. Good night to you as well. See ya.
Night.
All right then, guys. So that was Gene. Like I said, you know, feel free to check out his channel, subscribe to him, check out leave a comment, leave a like to him. And you know, that is it for today from me as well. Sunday streams are usually 1 hour, and I still have a few other things to do as well. And yeah, so that is it for today. I mean, I hope you enjoyed today's live stream about English teaching as a career. You know, we had Gene telling us his experience. So, you know, some negatives, some positives from both sides. And you know, I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure that you like this live stream. Make sure that you check out my other videos as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. And I will see you guys on Tuesday evening. So that's the new schedule. So Tuesday evening is going to be a new video, and Wednesday evening is going to be a new live stream. So if you are only watching the live streams, I will catch you guys on Wednesday night. And if you're watching normal videos, then it is Tuesday. Anyway, guys, like I said, I will see you next time. Have a good night, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are in the world. And that is it. So bye-bye.